Hi guys, welcome to my study compass. In this video, I'll be walking you through the past paper Math P2 Variant 2 October-November 2019. Let's get started. The lowest temperature recorded at Scott Base in Antarctica is -57.0 degrees Celsius. The highest temperature recorded at Scott Base is 63.8 degrees Celsius more than this. What is the highest temperature recorded at Scott Base? To get the highest temperature, we add 63.8 degrees Celsius to -57.0 degrees Celsius. This gives us 6.8 degrees Celsius. Calculate 5/8 plus cube root of 340. When we type this into the calculator, we get 7.60 rounded to 3 significant figures. Expand a times a cubed plus 3. A times a cubed is a raised to the power 4. A times 3 is 3a. On the Venn diagram, shade the region A intersection B complement. First, we identify the region A intersection B. Then we shade the region outside A intersection B. The mass correct to the nearest kilogram of each of 11 parcels is shown below. Find the mode. The mode is the most recurring number, and this number is 23. Give a reason why the mean would be an unsuitable average to use. This is because one of the values in the list, which is 96, is very high compared to the rest of the values. The table shows how children in Ivan's class travel to school. Ivan wants to draw a pie chart to show this information. Find the sector angle for children who walk to school. The total number of children is 12 plus 7 plus 9 plus 4, which is equal to 32. And so the sector angle theta for the children who walk to school divided by 360 degrees times 32 should be equal to the number of children who walk to school, which is 12. When we make theta the subject of the equation, this is what we have. When we type this into the calculator, we get 135 degrees. Rashid changes 30,000 rupees to dollars when the exchange rate is $1 equals 68.14 rupees. How many dollars does he receive? We know that $1 equals 68.14 rupees. And so for 30,000 rupees, how many dollars would Rashid receive? This is what we are calling X. When we cross multiply and make X the subject, this is what we get. When we type this into the calculator, we have $440.27. We are only interested in the number of dollars Rashid receives, so that will be $440. The bearing of P from B is 102 degrees. Find the bearing of B from P. We've indicated the bearing of B from P with a green arrow. We've been given the bearing of P from B as 102 degrees. These two angles are interior angles, which means they add up to 180 degrees. So when we subtract 102 degrees from 180 degrees, we get this angle as 78 degrees. So now the bearing of B from P is 360 degrees minus 78 degrees, which is equal to 282 degrees. Solve the inequality. X over 2 minus 13 is greater than 12 plus 3x. When we group like terms, this is what we have. Negative 13 minus 12 is negative 25, and 3x minus half x is 5 over 2x. When we multiply both sides of the inequality by 2, this is what we get. When we divide both sides by 5, this is what we have. This is the same as writing x is less than negative 10. Write the recurring decimal 0.67 as a fraction. Show all your working and give your answer in its simplest form. Let x be the recurring decimal 0.677. When we multiply x by 10, this is what we get. And when we multiply x by 100, this is what we get. Note that 10x and 100x have the exact same pattern after the decimal point. So when we subtract 10x from 100x, this is what we have. 100x minus 10x is 90x, and 67.77 minus 6.77 is 61. When we divide both sides by 90, we have x equals 61 over 90. Without using a calculator, work out 3/5 over 8 minus 1/2 over 3. You must show all your working and give your answer as a mixed number in its simplest form. First, we convert the mixed fractions into improper fractions. For 3/5 over 8, we have 8 times 3 plus 5, which is 29, divided by 8. For 1/2 over 3, we have 3 times 1 plus 2, which is 5, divided by 3. The LCM for 8 and 3 is 24. Since we multiply 8 by 3 to get 24, we also multiply 29 by 3. And since we multiply 3 by 8 to get 24, we also multiply 5 by 8. 3 times 29 is 87, and 8 times 5 is 40. 87 minus 40 is 47. 47 over 24 is an improper fraction, and so we need to convert it into a mixed fraction. 24 goes into 47 one time with a remainder of 23, which we divide by 24. And so our final answer is 123 over 24. A regular polygon has an interior angle of 176 degrees. Find the number of sides of this polygon. This is the formula for the size of an interior angle in a regular polygon, where n is the number of sides of the polygon, which is what we want to find. We've been given the interior angle of the polygon as 176 degrees, and so from here all we need to do is make n the subject of the equation. When we multiply both sides by n, this is what we get. When we expand 180 times n minus 2, we get 180n minus 360. When we group like terms and simplify, we get 4n equals 360. When we divide both sides by 4, we get n equals 90. Two mathematically similar containers have heights of 30 centimeters and 75 centimeters. The larger container has a capacity of 5.5 liters. Calculate the capacity of the smaller container. Give your answer in milliliters. Since we are dealing with similar containers, the ratio of the volumes of the containers should be equal to the cube of the ratio of their heights. We want to find the capacity or the volume of the smaller container, which we have represented with Vs. HS is 30 centimeters, HL is 75 centimeters, and VL is 5.5 liters. We want our answer to be in milliliters, so we multiply 5.5 by 1000 to convert it to milliliters. When we type this into the calculator, we get 352 milliliters. Show that the line 4y equals 5x minus 10 is perpendicular to the line 5y plus 4x equals 35. We can get the first equation in the form y equals mx plus c by dividing through the equation by 4. This gives us y equals 5 over 4x minus 10. The gradient m of the line is the coefficient of the x term, which is 5 over 4. We can get the second equation in the form y equals mx plus c by dividing through the equation by 5 and making y the subject of the equation. This gives us y equals negative 4 over 5x plus 35. The gradient m of the line is the coefficient of the x term, which is negative 4 over 5. When we multiply the gradients of the two lines, we get -1. Therefore, one of the lines is perpendicular to the other. Esme buys X magazines at $2.45 each and Y cards at $3.15 each. Write down an expression in terms of X and Y for the total cost in dollars of the magazines and the cards. The total cost will be the unit cost of a magazine, which is $2.45, times the number of magazines bought, which is X, plus the unit cost of a card, which is 3.15, times the number of cards bought, which is Y. Esme spends $60.55 in total. She buys 8 magazines. How many cards does she buy? We've been told Esme buys 8 magazines, which means X is 8, and the total amount she spends is $60.55. When we substitute these values into the equation we got in part A, this is what we have. When we group like terms, we get 3.15y equals 40.95. When we divide both sides by 3.15, we get y equals 13. By shading the unwanted regions of the grid, find and label the region R that satisfies the following inequalities. For the first inequality, we draw the line y equals 5. For the second inequality, the line 2x plus y equals 6 has already been drawn for us. And for the final inequality, we draw the line y equals x plus 1. After drawing these lines, we can start shading the unwanted regions. For y is less than and equal to 5, the wanted region is below the line y equals 5, and so we shade the region above the line. For 2x plus y is greater than and equal to 6, the wanted region is above the line 2x plus y equals 6, and so we shade the region below the line. For y is greater than and equal to x plus 1, the wanted region is above the line y equals x plus 1, and so we shade the region below the line. After shading all the unwanted regions, the final wanted region that satisfies all three inequalities is left unshaded. This is the region we label as R. The diagram shows a scale drawing of Lee's garden, PQRS. The scale is 1 centimeter, represents 2 meters. On the diagram, construct the position of the bed table. Use a ruler and compasses only and show all your construction arcs. The bed table is equidistant from PQ and QR. For this requirement, we are to draw the angle bisector of angle PQR. First, open up your compass, stand at point Q and construct an arc for angle PQR. Then, standing at this point, open your compass wider and inscribe an arc. Without changing the opening of the compass, stand at this point and inscribe another arc. Now we draw a line from point Q that passes through the intersection of the arcs. We've also been told that the bed table is 13 meters from R. The scale for the map is 1 centimeter is to 2 meters. And so for 13 meters, how many centimeters will that be? If we represent this by x, we can cross multiply and make x the subject. This gives us 6.5 centimeters. Using a ruler, measure the width of your compass to be 6.5 centimeters. Stand at point R and inscribe an arc. The intersection point of this arc and the angle bisector is the location of the bed table. Harris is taking a driving test. The probability that he passes the driving test at the first attempt is 0.6. If he fails, the probability that he passes at any further attempt is 0.75. Calculate the probability that Harris passes the driving test at the second attempt. This probability is equal to the probability that Harris fails on the first attempt and passes on the second attempt. The probability that he fails on the first attempt is 1 minus 0.6. The probability that he passes on the second attempt is 0.75. When we type this into the calculator, we get 0.3. Calculate the probability that Harris takes no more than 3 attempts to pass the driving test. There are 3 possible scenarios in this case: the probability that he passes on the first attempt, or the probability that he passes on the second attempt, or the probability that he passes on the third attempt. The probability that he passes on the first attempt is 0.6. We've already found the probability that he passes the second attempt as 0.3. The probability that he passes on the third attempt will be the probability that he fails on the first attempt, fails on the second attempt, and passes on the third attempt. This gives us 0.4 times 0.25 times 0.75. When we type this into the calculator, we get 0.975. In the diagram, A, B, C, and D lie on the circumference of a circle center O. Angle ACD is x degrees and angle OAB is 2x degrees. Find an expression in terms of x in its simplest form for angle AOB. OA and OB are radii of the circle, which makes triangle AOB an isosceles triangle. Base angles in an isosceles triangle are equal. All angles in a triangle should add up to 180 degrees. And so to get angle AOB, we subtract 2 times 2x from 180. 2 times 2x is 4x, and so our final answer here is 180 minus 4x. Find angle ACB. Chord AB subtends angle AOB at the center of the circle and subtends angle ACB at the circumference of the circle. This means angle ACB is half of angle AOB. We found angle AOB in the previous question as 180 minus 4x. When we expand the brackets, half times 180 is 90, and half times minus 4x is minus 2x. And so our final answer here is 90 minus 2x. Find angle DAB. Opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral should add up to 180 degrees. And so angle DAB plus angle DCB should be equal to 180 degrees. Angle DCB is equal to angle DCA, which is x, plus angle ACB, which is 90 minus 2x. When we make angle DAB the subject of the equation and group like terms, we get 90 plus x. Factorize 18y minus 3ay plus 12x minus 2ax. For the first two terms, when we factor out 3y, we are left with 6 minus a. And for the final two terms, when we factor out 2x, we are left with 6 minus a. We can rewrite this as 3y plus 2x times 6 minus a. Factorize 3x squared minus 48y squared. The two terms have a common factor of 3. When we factor that out, we are left with x squared minus 16y squared. X squared minus 16y squared can be rewritten as a difference of two squares, which is x squared minus 4y squared. When we apply the factorization formula for the difference of two squares, we can rewrite x squared minus 4y squared as x plus 4y times x minus 4y. And so our final answer here is 3 times x plus 4y times x minus 4y. 3 raised to the power negative 2 times 3 raised to the power x equals 81. Find the value of x. We can rewrite 81 as 3 raised to the power 4. By the laws of indices, we can rewrite 3 raised to the power negative 2 times 3 raised to the power x as 3 raised to the power negative 2 plus x. Now that the bases on both sides of the equation are equal, then their powers should also be equal. So we have negative 2 plus x equals 4. When we add 2 to both sides of the equation, we have x equals 6. X raised to the power negative 1 over 3 equals 32x raised to the power negative 2. Find the value of x. When we divide both sides of the equation by x raised to the power negative 2, this is what we have. By applying the laws of indices, we can rewrite x raised to the power negative 1 over 3 divided by x raised to the power negative 2 as x raised to the power negative 1 over 3 minus negative 2. Negative 1 over 3 minus negative 2 is 5 over 3. When we take the power of 3 over 5 on both sides of the equation, we get x equals 8. Find AB. Matrix A and matrix B are 2 by 2 matrices. And so when we multiply these matrices, the resulting matrix would also be a 2 by 2 matrix. To get the number in this position, we multiply the elements in row 1 of matrix A with the elements in column 1 of matrix B. This gives us 2. To get the number in this position, we multiply the elements in row 2 of matrix A with the elements in column 1 of matrix B. This gives us 10. For the number in this position, we multiply the elements in row 1 of matrix A with the elements in column 2 of matrix B. This gives us 17. For the number in this position, we multiply the elements in row 2 of matrix A with the elements in column 2 of matrix B. This gives us negative 25. And so we have 2, 10, 17, negative 25. CA equals negative 13, negative 2. Find the value of K. When we multiply a 1 by 2 matrix and a 2 by 2 matrix, the resulting matrix would be a 1 by 2 matrix. To get the number in this position, we multiply the elements in row 1 of matrix C with the elements in column 1 of matrix A. This gives us negative 3 minus 5k. To get the number in this position, we multiply the elements in row 1 of matrix C with the elements in column 2 of matrix A. This gives us negative 2. When we compare what we have with what was given in the question, we see that negative 3 minus 5k should be equal to negative 13. When we make k the subject, we get k equals 2. Find A inverse. The inverse of matrix A is equal to 1 divided by the determinant of matrix A times this vector. To get this vector, we swap the numbers in the major diagonal of matrix A and negate the numbers in the minor diagonal. To get the determinant of matrix A, we subtract the product of the minor diagonal, which is 2 times negative 5, from the product of the major diagonal, which is 3 times 0. This gives us 10. So we have 1 over 10 times 0.5 negative 2, 3. The speed time graph shows information about a train journey. By drawing a suitable tangent to the graph, estimate the gradient of the curve at t equals 24. First, we draw the tangent to the graph at t equals 24. Then we pick 2 coordinates on this tangent. Here is the gradient formula. When we substitute the chosen coordinates, this is what we have. When we type this into the calculator, we get negative 0.429 kilometers per minute squared, rounded to 3 significant figures. What does this gradient represent? The gradient of speed time graphs gives us acceleration. Work out the distance traveled by the train when it is traveling at constant speed. The area under speed time graphs gives us the distance traveled. The train travels at a constant speed of 4 kilometers per minute from t equals 5 to t equals 22. And so we only need to find the area under this section of the graph. This area is in the shape of a rectangle. And so the distance traveled equals 4 kilometers per minute times 22 minus 5 minutes, which is equal to 68 kilometers. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. See you in the next video. Bye guys.